welcome to Real Life in Archetypes. My name is Marina. So today I wanted to do a little different take about courage versus cowardice. It's usually related to fear or doing extraordinary acts, but I wanted to just take a little twist here. And this is because of my own personal experiences. And I wanted to talk about instinct and true nature. So, first of all, the hero is always about the self. This is what it refers to. It's an archetype that is always there. So this is, two things that are very important. It's about the self. The hero refers to you. And it's always there, no matter what situation. If you are awake and if you are alive, you have the hero there. Not all of the archetypes are present in every situation. Only the hero is always there. So it's important to understand that concept. And so the hero is very unconscious, mostly, particularly when we're very young, and it's supposed to evolve. And the instinct that we're going to evolve and develop as a hero, as a self, is going to give an indication as to what inclination we have, whether it's going to be towards being a force for good or not. And I pay attention to that a lot in people because of my own experiences. I've had to see what I call the 180 or the jungle mindset that you see in people. And I have noticed a pattern of particularly cowardly people who will suddenly, just because they don't want to take on a burden or what they consider a burden, but what is really a lack of instinct to preserve life, they're just going to go and, have an attitude of eliminating people with an excuse or justification of that jungle mindset. That's the world, that's life. It's everyone for themselves. So that's the lowest form of being. And being is the hero archetype. Okay, one of the things that you need to understand is that even when you look at a birth chart, people think that you look at a birth chart and it tells you what is going to be. It doesn't. It tells you what kind of energy that you have, where they're going to be activated and triggered, and then you are the one that's going to make the decisions whether you're going to express an archetype at what level, at the highest level or not. And it's all about you. It's all about your will to do something. So, for example, if you have the sun in a sign, people will just think that it means that, oh, you're very sensitive and emotional, therefore you're a good person because you have that sun in that sign. No, that's not true. Whatever is activated means that you have to develop that archetype. It doesn't mean that you have it and that it's well expressed. It's actually the opposite. So if you have an archetype that is activated, it doesn't mean that you're doing it the right way. It means that you have to learn to develop and express it. So this thing about, courage versus cowardice, and this thing that I pay attention to a lot, I don't know why I personally place a lot of importance to that because I've had to deal with extreme circumstances of, survival, and I still am in many ways. And you see, especially when you're in need of support and help, you can see the reaction that some people have and the instinct that they have, which is to just let everybody drown. That's the jungle mindset that I see. And I have noticed a pattern, and this is not at all a scientific research, but this is, from my perspective and my experiences. But I notice that those kinds of people are the most cowardly in any kind of situation, that they're going to immediately have the instinct to eliminate others and to justify it by, well, everybody for themselves, always finding an excuse. And I find that horrifying, but I've seen it so many times. So to me, it's not about a fear, because we all have to deal with fear. And by the way, I always mention that quote from John Lovell, an ex Special Forces, who said, I've been on the spectrum from hero to coward. That's the self awareness that we all need to develop. That self awareness that everyone from the perspective of the hero archetype is supposed to develop. And of course, these actual warriors, they develop a lot of self awareness. It's massive for them because it's a question of life and death. So they're very aware of their strengths and their vulnerability, and they're realistic about things. This is also why, and I've made a video about that you have these superheroes, superhuman people, very strong men who go through a lot of life and death situations, who find themselves particularly in transitions from one life to another. So from the military to ordinary life, they have a lot of difficulty. There's I think the highest level of suicide is in that community, special forces, or if I'm mistaken, please correct me, but I think those are the numbers. And you would think, well, these are superheroes, actual superheroes who are willing to put their lives on the line for others. Talk about courage and preserving life. And they have, they can't handle that transition from the their special world to the back to the ordinary world, to civilian life. So I made a video about that you can check out. I'm not going to repeat myself, but my point is that, we can go through the whole spectrum of things in life, but I'm talking about nature. I'm talking about that there's something that you can see in people, especially in situations of extreme crisis or challenges. And in my personal experiences, what I'm referring to is when you need the support of others that you thought would be there. And when I mean support, I mean mostly it's about, personal emotional support, just to be there, and they just switch to that jungle mindset and they don't want anything to do with you. And I find that despicable. That's what I call cowardice, because it's an instinct to completely disengage. So they engage as long as they get what they want. But when it's time to do something for others, which, by the way, is not that big, of a task to do, unlike, these special forces guys who are doing incredible things and they're going at it. But you have these people who just have this is what I call the jungle mindset, but it's like a 180 switch. They may appear like good people, normal people, but when it really matters, they just say, why don't you figure things out for yourself and go to hell at your worst moment in life. I've encountered that quite a bit, and I find that horrifying. So to me, the hero archetype courage is really about that, having that instinct to preserve life. And not a lot of people, or not all people, I don't know how many, I don't know the numbers, but not all people develop that instinct. So when you use the word development, it's always related to the family archetype. So the family is an environment and experiences, a biography that is going to what's the key word? It's going to provide you with something called continuity, an ability to continue or not. And that's going to be sabotage. So the family archetype is the one that takes the young and provides whatever they need so that they can grow and thrive in the world, right? So for people who have some difficulty with the family archetype, that's where you're going to see a lot of that, that switch about dissociation and saying, I don't want to preserve or develop life. I this is it's not a scientific claim at all, but this is something that I have seen in my own experience. Now, a lot of people turn things around. So, for example, in special forces, actually, most of these guys have had really tough childhood. I've mentioned that many times. These are people who've had really incredible experiences that not many people would survive, and they turn things around, or they have that instinct to preserve life because of that. You can see that instinct to protect, to preserve their country. Country is exactly the same as family. It's about a human system wanting to protect. So I wanted to start with a quote that I really love, and I wanted to show you. This is from the Tao Te Ching, and I love this quote. It's about the secret of strength is the guarding of what is soft and tender. So pay attention to that quote and remember that I will repeat it because this is what is important here. This is what I call actual strength and courage. And I wanted to play a clip here. Again, I've been doing a series. I will continue to do a series of Christian Craighead's interview with Shawn Ryan, which is just incredible. And I just want you to listen to this.
Early age of starting from about 4 years old and chipping away all the way up until teenager, is they made me not tolerate bullies, to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves, and do the right thing when you can.
To stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. So he's referring to having been exposed to a lot of violence when he was a child. And I would say, torture, bullying. You have to watch that interview. It's really incredible. And at one point, by the way, he said he was going through that experience. He was being tortured, and he thought, he was very young, can't remember what age, but he had the thought. He explains that he had the thought, thank God it's me and it's not somebody else, and especially a little girl. So because he was very, very young as a child, and he was being tortured by what he calls evil people, really, really nasty people. And he had that thought. So that thought of sacrifice and also preservation. So this is something that you see. That's what I call the real hero archetype. That is courage. And the opposite of that is cowardice. So to me, I associate cowardice to, bullies and evil and all that stuff, because that's the easy way. The easy way is to just say, let it's everyone for themselves. They should figure things out. Why do I have to care about another human being and assist them, even if it's in a minimal way? So this is something that disturbs me so deeply that I wanted to do the video. So listen, think about what he says, to protect people, defend people who can't defend themselves. And you have that quote from the Tao: the secret of strength is the guarding of what is soft and tender, the vulnerable. This is the secret of strength. And strength is what the hero is supposed to represent. And so that's one of the tests of people, throughout life. You can see when you're tested what you're made of. And by the way, when you go through extreme situations, you don't really know how you're going to behave. We are right now witnessing, the fires in Los Angeles, in Southern California. I'm not going to go into the stories that we're hearing, but there was a particular one that was very disturbing, that, you see people who have that instinct to go and preserve life and to help others and to assist others. And then you have those who have that jungle mindset. They're looting, they're, destroying, they're starting fires as well. I mean, this is where you can see the true nature of people. Life is going to reveal that true nature and what you're really made of. And to me, in terms of the hero archetype, it's going to reveal whether you're going to be a force for good or bad. And by the way, this is not like a one-off. It's not like you're going to have an experience and then you say, oh, I'm good. No, you're going to be tested throughout life. It's going to be something that you're going to have to really see if you have a pattern with that inclination to just say, hey, let people just fend for themselves. I don't want to have to care about life and protect or anything. I just want, it's all about myself. And God, I just find that incredible. So that, the lack of protection, of standing for life, that's what cowardice is to me. And that comes from an instinct. And this is something that I pay attention to. So I want to show you another video. And that's going to be John McPhee, another former Special Forces Delta, I think. What a character. Amazing interview. You must watch on the Shawn Ryan show. So this one is, it's a different kind of personality than Christian Craighead. Christian Craighead, I love his interview. It's fascinating from the perspective of archetypes. It's incredible. What I love about how he tells his story is that he's very connected to this personal self. That's also the family archetype, by the way, because of his experiences. And he knows, it's extraordinary that he managed to get out of what would have been a path of self-destruction. Because if you don't have that instinct to preserve life, to guard life, you don't have that ability for continuity, and therefore to grow and to build. It's very difficult, because then you just have to, you just want to start things again and again. That happens a lot. So for Christian Craighead, what I love is that he's, there's something about his personal experiences. He really goes into what he feels personally. That's what emotions are for. It's not for weeping and crying. You can obviously remain stuck in that, but there's incredible value and power in our emotions, especially caring. Caring is a powerful, addition to the force of the hero. Okay, the hero is always there. That's the force that we have. How are we going to use that force? So if we have the element of care, there is nothing more powerful than care in a positive way, obviously. For those who do not have that instinct to protect and to guard, they don't care. It horrifies me. So Christian Craighead is very much based in that, and also his beliefs, his spirituality. He talks a lot about that. John McPhee, the next video clip that I want to play, that's a whole other matter to me. This is somebody who is more into learning in terms of navigating life and learning in terms of smarts. It's about the pragmatism. It's about knowing. He's very much into war. He's quite a character. You have to watch. I find it fascinating. But listen to what he says.
You know what I mean? I valued everybody's life, and I know the war takes bodies, and I had already seen loss, and I had already learned the solo mission stuff. You can't kill enough people to win today, right? You just can't. The Nazis tried it. It doesn't fucking work. Stop saying that. You know what I mean? Like, guys say that all the time. Stop fucking saying that. The only way to win a war is preserve life, whether it's yours or the people's lives that need to be preserved, right?
I mean, that's quite amazing. The only way to win a war is to preserve life. So even super warriors who are killing machines, by the way, they have, some of them, depending on who. Christian Craighead, he has a huge sense of fighting evil and defending the weak and things like that. You can tell from the way, the message that he communicates and his belief system, that this is something very much ingrained in him from his experiences. It's what he was able to take from his experiences. John McPhee is another kind of warrior. He's a little more pragmatic in his thinking and about dexterity and the smarts of war. It's a completely different affair. But even then, this guy, and for those who know who John McPhee is, and I'm not going to go into that, he's a particular guy. And even this guy is talking about the value of preserving life. What an instinct. And he's a teacher, an amazing teacher, by the way, teaching, skills, of what he knows. And he has the instinct to grow, to preserve life, teaching and helping others and things like that. That to me is a good inclination. It's a good instinct. This is something that you see the nature of a person. You can rely on a person like that. But cowardice, and I'm so traumatized by that, I can't even begin to tell you. But this 180, where you suddenly see that people don't care if you live or die. They really don't care. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Anyway, so you can see, you have real heroes, people who've done extraordinary things, who are willing to put their lives on the line to build, to preserve life, to grow, to help others. They are extraordinary people. And then you see a lot of others who think of themselves as very important and who are absolute trashy human beings. I'm sorry to say, but that's my opinion. So anyway, the willingness to guard life, and that's just what I wanted to say, because it really, let's just go back to this, and let's just remain with this beautiful quote by the Tao Te Ching. So what kind of instinct do you have? The secret of strength. Because if you're strong and you're destroying others or discarding others and eliminating others, anybody can do that. Destruction is easy. What is difficult is to take care of others, to care for others, and to offer something that is helpful to others. And not a lot of people have that instinct. That, at least from my personal experience, I've seen it too many times, and it still breaks my heart. It's still difficult for me to fully assimilate it, but that's a truth that I have seen. So anyway, food for thought. Now, I wanted to mention something else, because we often think about courage. What would you do in a situation of extreme stress and tension? You actually don't know, okay? However, when you've had a bunch of situation, and as you get older, you've had a lot of experiences in life, and you see a pattern in some people, Pay attention to the true nature of people, because those who do not have the instinct to preserve life, major red flag. So pay attention, because those are not good people. Thank you for watching.